There is a storm on the horizon. They say it follows a ship rigged with black sails. They'll destroy anyone who stands in between them and their hunt for gold. Have mercy on your soul if you ever run into these Buccaneers. Run him down to David Jones' locker.
Yeah, this the home of the Bucs. Home of the Bucs. For all them kenners. Watch how my city turn up. We gotta do something. There's levels to this. We got love it with us. They tell me we finally got it. I feel like we did it. At level we
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Buck and Blake Sports Live on BucsReport.com. Follow the 63,000 on Facebook and counting. Welcome to my Friday edition pregame to the Seattle Seahawks. Bucs going on their final end of their road trip, and they get to come home next week to Arizona game, which I will be at. Looking forward to actually seeing live football again instead of watching it on the television. But I am your host, Blake Anthony, and this is Buck and Blake Sports. Make sure to check out all the fine shows here on BucsReport.com. Cannon Fire Podcast, Buck Ball Podcast, Real Bucks Talk, the Red Flag Podcast, Buck What You Heard, Fantasy and Flavors, the Sports Web, and Thursday Night with Charles Richardson, which he was on last night. And I'm on today, getting it out the way, because Peter Blake may come out late and have something to say. So, with all that being said, before we get into our thing, we're going to hear from Ty Bowles, as you always do, Byron Leftwich, which is a lot of controversy coming around with him lately. We'll get into that later. Hear from Carlton Davis. We'll look at the Seahawks offense and defense, what it's going to look like. And my predictions, Madden predictions, and I think that's it for today. And then, of course, I'll get into you guys. It's all questions and comments and stuff. And there'll be some polls going on as well while you're looking at videos. But first, let's hear from our sponsor.
At Life's a Beach Realty, we're all about life on the beach. Stunning Panama City Beach and one of the most beautiful properties on the Gulf Coast, Shores of Panama. Radiant, elegant, and spectacular. Steps away from white sugar sand, every room overlooks the turquoise of the Gulf of Mexico. Come in for your tour today. Life's a Beach Realty is your gateway to Shores of Panama, the shores, and a whole lot more. At Life's a Beach Realty.
There you have it, Life's a Beach Realty. Check it out on our website and as well as the phone number you just seen there previously. Russ put up a comment on there. He said, why don't our draft picks ever work out for us? I think a couple of them are. Sometimes it just doesn't happen as fast as you expect, Russ. I get what you're saying. I used to say the same thing. Ali Marpet's worked out. Alex Kappa's turning out very well for us at the time. He's getting some great plays coming back off of injury. It seems like he's being a worthy pick at the moment. Who else? Hargraves hasn't. Mike Edwards. People forgot about him. He's just been he's been quiet because he hasn't got a whole lot of interceptions, but he's played really well. Sean Bunting Murphy is getting some play at the moment, so we'll see how that turns out. I get what you're saying. Day, see, I got it right. Welcome to the show. It's a collective thing. We'll get into that later, Russ. You're going to get me all off topic. Let me try to stay on task, Russ. Stay on task. I'll get to it, though, Russ. Don't forget about it. We'll put a pin in that. But let's hear about from Byron Leftwich first before we get into it. Again, if you're just turning in, welcome to Buck and Blake Sports Live on BucsReport.com. Follow the 63,000 on Facebook. Follow any of my social media phones. If you respond to me, I will respond back to you. I will not ignore you. Send me some videos or some topics that you want to talk about, and I will bring it up on the show or play it on the show if you like. There's also a link down there if you want to get on audio or you want to get on video. The link in the description box on the post. If it doesn't work initially, you usually have problems with Apple users. If you email it to yourself, it'll work like that. So, with that being said, let's hear what Byron Leftwich has to say about the game in Seattle and his previous performance.
How's everybody doing? Good.
We're talking to Coach Arians on Monday, and everywhere he's been, things turned around quickly, right? Indianapolis takes over from Chuck, they go 9-3. You saw what happened in Arizona, obviously. But he's at a loss to figure out why the message hasn't gotten to the players. He's doing everything he's pretty much has done. Do you have any theories about that?
Not really. You just keep coaching them. We're getting better. Our record may not say that, but we're getting better. We just got to make sure we keep coaching. We're not out of this thing. We're not out. That's our approach to it. We're going to keep coaching these guys. They're going to keep continuing getting better. We had a hell of a practice today. Guys are still into it and keep trying to get better.
Can you give some examples of which ways you're getting better? Because Jameis Winston's completion percentage is down, sacks are up, red zone percentage keeps going down. And what areas do you see improvement?
As a whole, from the time we got here, from what we see right now, and I see it as a whole. Maybe the numbers don't say that right now. We'll add the numbers up at the end of the year, and we'll count them up, and we'll see. But it's way too early for that. But I see this crew getting better every day.
Saying after the game that those interceptions were not Jameis, that there's been a problem with option routes, guys being on different pages. What's causing that in your eyes?
The newness of everything. It was uncharacteristic of the two guys, the situations that was in. It was very unusual for that to happen. It happened. It so happened in the game. Usually those things tend to happen in the practice. You get it corrected. But it didn't. It happened in the game. We'll learn from it. We'll move on. We'll go on to the Seattle Seahawks.
Last couple games, Peyton Barber, over half his runs have come on first downs in between the tackles. Do you think it's getting to the point that you're telegraphing plays?
No.
The running game has been less effective the last few weeks than it was the first few weeks. Are defenses playing it any differently?
It all depends on what game. Our last two games before this game, we didn't have an opportunity to have a lot of rushing attempts if you watch those games. So that's where the numbers can be. The numbers could be skewed a little bit. All depends on how you're looking at it. And if you understand the scenarios in the game, you'll understand why it's been down. But we'll get better at it all.
Has anything changed in your mind from when you got here with Jameis Winston to now that he can still be the future in Tampa after this season?
I mean, I feel that way. I feel as though we're playing like we're just not doing enough to win football games. This league is it's 4 or 5 plays here and there that you just got to really change, really right, and really get out of our system as a team. Really, that comes down to winning the football games. And if you win some of those games that you've lost, it's all different, right? The narrative all different, but we didn't. So we got to understand that, try to fix those plays, and try to hopefully when we have those opportunities in the future that we make those plays to win football games.
how disheartening is it that, it's a center quarterback exchange, right? I mean, communication which you practice with loud stadiums, it's, the handoff where the wide receiver, the timing's bad and he collides with your running back. I mean, those things aren't supposed to happen in professional football. They do from time to time, but the simple things seem to be what's beating you right now.
Yeah, and that's what we got to be aware of. We got to be aware of those things. And unfortunately, they showed up in games. They've showed up in games where they haven't shown up in practice. We just got to correct it. We just got to stay on it, and have an understanding that those plays can't happen on the Sunday, because that's those type of plays that I'm talking about throughout a game, because you're wasting plays, let alone the turnovers that may come from those type of plays or the negative plays that may come from those type of plays. You got to find a way to get those plays out of our game. We will. I really believe that we'll get those type of plays out of our system, and we'll start trying to find ways to win these football games.
What kind of unique challenges does a Seattle team present, both in terms of their atmosphere at home and in terms of what their defense is doing?
Yeah, I mean, they always been a very good defense. Every time I've had the opportunity to go up there, actually every year I've coached. It's a very fun place to play. It's a fun place to play. It's a very loud place to play. The guys won't need a lot to get juiced up. It's an exciting place, one of my favorite places to play. I love the atmosphere there. It smells, it looks like, everything about it says football. And it's just a good place to play. It's always a good atmosphere. It's always tough for the opponent that come in there because of how loud it really is. You can't simulate it until you actually get there. So we're going to prepare for it, make sure our communication is right, and we're going to try to go up there and see if we can play well.
You guys are finally coming to the end of a really long road trip. What's the sense from the players? Do you feel that they're tired, relieved that it's coming to an end, or what's the feeling? I
don't know if they're thinking about it. I know I don't have time to think about it. You have the opponent, so you think the opponent. You don't really care about where the game is at. You're looking at the opponent. You let the tape tell you. When you're worried about the opponent so much, the location really don't matter. You try to get these guys prepared for the guys that's never been there, never played there, to have an understanding what the atmosphere is going to be like.
Coach, you mentioned those simple things and those little things to get things done. When you look at the snap that went wrong between Jamison and Jensen, those are two veterans. When you look at Rashad in motion, it's another veteran wide receiver. How do you explain an older team, or at least veterans-wise, having that happen?
Well, veterans make mistakes too, every Sunday. Like every Sunday they making mistakes, and you got to correct them. You just got to correct them, and that's around the league. So we'll clean this stuff up. We'll clean those type of plays, get those plays out of our system, and when we do, I believe we'll play well.
At the end of the game, the atmosphere in the locker room was one that was kind of pissed off, and Bruce said yesterday's practice was very, very serious in nature. Do you feel that level of anger has kind of carried over into this week, and how would you describe today's practice? They
feel close. It's tough. It's tough winning and losing in this league week in and week out. It's hard to explain if you don't give it all during the week and give everything you got on Sunday and you lose the game. That's tough on everybody. People have no understanding of what that's really like, to give it your all every week. And you win the game, the joy that comes from winning that game, regardless of how you win it. You lose the game, the defeat that stays on you when you lose that game. I don't think a lot of people have an understanding of what guys put themselves through from a mental and physical standpoint week in and week out. So that's what make it difficult, right? So you try to do the things throughout the week to make sure when the game's over, at least for 24 hours, you can have that good feeling of winning the football game.
As a quarterback, when you're in a game drive, score, touchdown, win the game situation, and it's fourth and more than one, did you like the ball coming out of your hands and handing it off to some guy and saying, hey, go in the middle of the defense here and try to pick up this yard?
I'll say this, I've done both.
What did you prefer?
Whichever one got what we needed, right? I did a lot of throwing that ball and didn't hit the guy, and you get the same feeling. So it's about execution, whatever play is called, finding a way to get the job done. That's what it's really about. When you play quarterback, you just want to find a way to get the job done. We didn't. Hopefully, if we get that opportunity again, we'll find a way to get the job done.
You guys had a lot of confidence in camp and preseason and the depth at receiver, and obviously you've gotten a lot out of Mike and Chris. Why do you think you haven't gotten the contributions you need from the rest of the receivers?
I don't really see it that way. When you have guys going off the way that these guys going off, it's difficult. You know what I mean? You have, I think it's 4 or 5 games. We had a guy almost have 200 yards between Chris and Mike. And when you have that, you know, sometimes the ball don't get that way because it may go to a guy more than usual, or we got a lot of guys out there that's getting in position to make plays. And I always tell you guys this, sometimes the ball just don't get in certain guys' hands because of the way teams are playing us, progressions in plays. It may be leakage in the protection where you guys open, you can't get the ball to them. It's a lot. It's the game of football. It's just football. We'll try to continue getting our guys going, not just our 3rd and 4th wide receivers, but really everybody.
When you don't get the winning results, do you have to keep reinforcing just the buy-in and keeping these guys' minds focused on, hey, this is going to work. It's it's going to click eventually.
Well, I see the improvements. I mean, maybe you guys don't. I see the improvements, so I see the work that these guys are putting in to win football games. Because ultimately, we're trying to win football games. We're not trying to really be better statistically at this just so the world can say this. We're trying to leave a stadium with a win. And whatever that is that we got to do, we got to find ways to do that. That's our only mindset.
Okay, thank you.
All right, guys.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. You know, Byron Leftwich is so elongated when he talks. I think he enjoys it too much. He kind of repeats himself, too, over and over. I think media gets kind of annoyed with him, I guess you would say. But again, if you're just tuning in, welcome to Buck and Blake Sports Live on BucsReport.com. All right, slowly crept into November. Halloween was last night, but everybody came home safely and had a good time. I appreciate you guys checking me out every Monday and Friday. Make sure you get on Facebook, Bucs Report, and hit that like button. Make sure to check out my website at buckandblakesports.com and check out bucsreport.com, where you find all my content on my website and as well as Bucs Report, along with articles of that nature and all the other shows there. There's also been a lot of controversy, talking about the offense. We're going to get a little bit too about the Bucs offense when we roll on how I normally do, and talk about some things that's been some controversial stuff going on all this lately. But first, I want to get on Russ's thing, what he was talking earlier about. If Russ, a fan who commented earlier, Russ had said, why doesn't our draft picks ever work out? Russ, I believe sometimes we pick players for the sake of picking them and don't really have a plan for them. But some players that we have turned out. Hopefully Kappa can turn out to a quality offensive line. And you definitely see the progression from last year to this year and the confidence level going up from preseason to the regular season. You're getting to see a lot of these young guys getting trial by fire in the secondary. And a lot of pressure would be off of them if we had a consistent pass rush. Hopefully JPP coming back would help out. I know I said at the beginning of the year, and I'm a man of, I had no problem saying I was wrong. But the only reason I was wrong, I cared more about the man's health than him actually playing. And I said the Bucs should just go ahead and move on from Jason Pierre-Paul. Jason Pierre-Paul proved to me and proved to a lot of people that he can still play at a high level. I just didn't want to see the man get hurt. It's not worth it to me. I know I don't know him personally. I've played the game of football before, and I know the position he plays and how physical it is. And I care about that man having a successful rest of his life than appeasing me on a football field. That's why I said what I said. But he proved everybody wrong, and having heart and determination shows you, and you can accomplish just about anything. Just look at Ryan Shazier. But that's enough of that soapbox rant. It just haven't been fortunate, and we can't, Russ, we don't have coaches here long enough and coordinators here long enough to actually, when they drafted these guys, we don't use them as, I guess, whatever plan it was to draft them. Then when you bring a new guy in, he gets pretty much washing over and over, and that's why hopefully here with Bruce Arians, you can start to build on the pieces. If Winston's not the guy in a couple years or so, once you build up the quality things that you got to build, build up the weaknesses that you have over the years instead of just keep rinse and repeat and making lateral moves, as I said the week before. When you draft a player just to replace another one, you never move forward. You just move laterally, if you get what I'm saying. Never moved forward to get better. And I know every draft that comes up, we always want everything that's shiny. Sometimes you got to make that ugly pick of an offensive lineman, or defensive lineman's never ugly, but offensive lineman nobody wants to ever see that, in the first round. They like skill player positions to see when we draft them, but essentially those help you out unless you can pick up real quality guys in the later rounds and develop them, but we haven't really established that here yet to develop players like that. Hopefully we do. It's looking like it's working out for Kappa so far, and hopefully we can keep that going. If that's an elongated answer, Russ. Let me get this. You guys, some of you comments. Day, welcome. I think I said that earlier. Big Chris, what's going on? Make sure to check out Chris's mobile detail. Chris Lawrence, he's on my Facebook page. If you don't know his information, he will come to your job and detail your car anywhere in this Tampa Bay area. Make sure to reach out to him. Misadora, what's going on? Lights issues is he's a thrift shopper. Well, yeah, if you're in cap penalties, kind of got to be, but he hit on Tanner Hudson, hit on Cameron Brate. He's hit on a lot of guys coming out of free agency. Shaq Barrett, the most recent one, and Kevin Minter. So, yeah, I think he kind of makes up, and I wish he would do both because we would see sitting pretty if he did that. Misadora, emailing yourself. We talked about that. Felipe, what's going on? Do you think that Day says, do you think we need to use Miller, Perriman, and Godwin on more quick slants to get Jameis Winston the rhythm? Yeah, I don't care who it is, your running back or whatever. You got to get them going early, and I'll talk more about that when we look at Seattle's defense, and I'll talk about where the weaknesses is and what Jameis Winston should go. But I think we need to get the backs more involved. What I see when you watch tape, when you say Jameis has to throw in four tight windows and he's throwing in the coverage, you kind of got to. I'm going to do a little bit of math here. You have 5 eligible receivers that can go out for pass routes on every play, whether they block or whatever. You are allowed 5 players to go out for passes. So that's each player is responsible for 20% of each play. So now, if you're leaving a tight end and you're leaving a running back in the block, you're only left with 3 guys running pass routes. And so now if most teams, what they're doing to us, because our offensive line has been so poor, 27th ranked, now you have 7 guys in coverage that can cover 3 receivers. The reason I say 7 is because you only need 4 to rush. And that's what it's been for this offense, and we've still been able to move the yards. That's why Jameis 1 of 1 has been saying these things like that you're able to move the ball with only 3 receivers this entire season, regardless of our record or whatever that, because there's a lot of intangibles like that. Miscues, bad routes, not being where you're supposed to be, missed field goals. There's a lot of things that come out, but you're going 3 receivers versus 7 defensive, I ain't going to say backs, 7 people in coverage, because it's linebackers as well. And that's what you've been running this whole season. Now imagine, wait, and let me get even further. You're technically, because the third guy, your tight end, your third receiver, your tight end, or whoever the other guy is going out to cover, he's not doing anything. So you're only left with technically 2 guys that got to do predominantly of the work. And lo and behold, those are our 2 receivers are top in the league in receiving. So you're able to move the ball with not even running 50% of your offense pretty much successfully every down. And that's why New England's so well, because you're able to use all 5 of your assets all the time because your offensive line can protect. That's why protecting your quarterback or whoever is at the quarterback is so important, so you don't have to use other guys to block. Yeah, if you see blitzes coming, you got to make adjustments, or you have a hot route call. You got a running back that can beat a guy in one-on-one and man and things like that. And that stuff Leftwich got to get better at too. You got to get these backs and stuff involved and got to hold these offensive linemen accountable, because we want to see O.J. Howard catch passes. We want to see Cameron Brate. We want to see Tanner Hudson and Edward Leggett that's going to play today. I don't think it's Jordan Leggett that's going to play today, make plays and stuff like that. And those are things that we got to do. That's why I put that poll up. Do you think Bruce Arians needs to micromanage more of Byron Leftwich's play calling lately? Because I don't think we're getting the full capacity of our offense, and that's why we struggle so much. I know you guys don't see that all the time. You just see the TV and the camera angle and things like that, but pay attention to those small things. I said this on Twitter yesterday, I feel like us as sports media shouldn't always be the push of objective. I'll always tell you what's my opinion and what I know is for what's a fact. What I know is a fact is that we as media need to try to educate people more on the game and some things that you don't look at in the game, because you get caught up in the fandom, like you're just watching the game and you just go as what it is, or like, why did this happen? Oh, I see why. That's why that had to happen like that, whatever. And that's what we say, like, in the camera angle doesn't really help that's why, fortunate for me, I have access to all 22 and watching coaches film and stuff like that, and I can see what's going on in the game besides what you just see on the television, where it's the offensive line, your defensive line, and your quarterback. That's the only thing you can see. And although it looks like the quarterback has time to throw sometimes, but you're not seeing that nobody's open, that receivers are just standing there while he's running for his life. You guys can't see those things, and that's just what the camera angle does. It's nothing of your fault, but that's just what it is. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is Buck and Blake Sports live on BucsReport.com. Check us out on Facebook. Follow us, 63,000 and counting. I'm going to get to more of these before we go into Todd Bowles. And Byron Leftwich talks about getting better. I mean, I guess at a certain standpoint, we got to continue to do that. We're at the midpoint now. At some point, we got to make a turn so people can actually see what he's talking about. 'Cause I get what he's saying, but it's just not turning up in the game. People are having brain farts and things like that. Johnny Ding, Michael Clayton, welcome to the show, brother. Johnny Dean, never want to see a man destroy themselves for a game. Yeah, you're talking about Jason Pierre-Paul. Absolutely. That's why I said what I said. Howard's injury must be legit. He's out again this week. At any time that could happen. Just not hydrating right or just tweaking it wrong. I mean, hell, I hurt my knee walking back to the huddle one time, and I didn't do anything. It swole up. It's just things happen. Johnny, I see missed assignments being more the problem. Blake, execution makes any scheme good or bad. Yep, you have to execute. I know a lot of people get on Leftwich or Bowles for calls. You got to execute it. It could be the right call, but the guy delays or the guy doesn't do or plays inside leverage, outside leverage, or whatever it is, the play goes bad. It looks like the coach or a coordinator made a bad call if a guy doesn't execute the plays, and I'm sure Mike Clayton will tell you that himself, that if a play was designed for him to, if a play was designed for you to get open and the guy doesn't go where he's supposed to go or goes too far or takes 2 steps deeper than what he's supposed to do, then you're in the way and you're bringing a defender where the window is supposed to be. I'm sure he can attest to that all day long about that, and that's just stuff fans and stuff don't pay attention to. We just look at the end result, and that's what happens. All right, just want to make sure I'm not missing any of your comments. Make sure to get it on a good schedule today. We make sure to get it on there. Oh, getting better. Yeah, Byron Leftwich is right. We're not out of it. Technically, we can still with 3-5. 3-6. I got to get 3-5, right? Yeah, 3-5. No, I'm saying 3-5. 2-5. Excuse me. Giving us an extra win. Probably thinking we should have won a game that we lost. Not out of it. You just got to dig deeper, and it seems like every year that we're always got to fight for our lives for the playoffs way earlier than we should, and that's our own fault. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' fault, and that's their own fault. So, we got to do that. So it is what it is. So let's move on to Todd Bowles, and I will get with you guys in the chat group. Check him out. Todd Bowles is always so straight to the point.
Bruce the other day, you know this as well as anyone. Everywhere he's been, at least as a head coach in the NFL, it happened really fast in Indianapolis. Right, every team's different, but he won right away, 9-3. It happened fast in Arizona. And he said for whatever reason that some of the messages just haven't gotten through. He's not exactly sure. Do you have any theories as to why even some of the simple things that you guys, mistakes you guys have made, because I know you guys don't teach it any different, right? I mean, you're teaching it the way you've been successful doing it. So is there anything that
we teach differently all the time. You teach it according to how a player can learn it. So it's constant communication back and forth. We hadn't had the results we wanted, but you got to keep working at it. We're making strides, and it's just here and there something that comes up, and the brakes hasn't gone our way. But I think we're close. We just got to keep churning.
We obviously saw what Jason Pierre-Paul can do when healthy and on the field with the sack and those tackles for loss. But what have you seen from him over the week or the last couple weeks off the field from a leadership standpoint?
Well, he's great in the locker room. He's a great leader. He understands the game. He can bring guys along with him, and we have quite a few young guys over there that he can bring with him. But he's still working out some kinks. Having only practiced for about 2 weeks now. But the energy he brings, and when he gets to full tilt, you can see he's going to be a force. But right now, the energy he brings and the experience he brings and the way he approaches the game and attacks the game, I think is energetic enough for a lot of guys in the locker room.
You guys have had good success against the run. Where have you seen Vita Vea take the biggest step forward this year?
Like I said, he understands what's coming at him. You know, physically, he's a specimen. He can get off the ball and do a lot of things. But if you don't know how they're trying to block you and you don't use fundamental and technique, you're going to have a problem. I think his hands are a lot better this year. His knowledge of the game is growing every day. I think Coach Rogers and Coach Locust does a great job trying to detail the game plan for him, and he's bought in.
Have you guys gotten what you hoped or thought you would get when you brought in Dominican Sue? I know some of the outside stat rankings don't have ranked as high as some other guys, but what's your thoughts on how he's played this year and the difference he's made or has?
I think he's played great. I mean, I think we got more than what I thought coming in because I didn't know how intelligent he was from a mental standpoint. Physically, he keeps himself in great shape, obviously taking on double teams and understanding blocks and getting off the ball. Helping the outside guys make plays is one thing, but his intelligence of the game and how he approaches the game and the way he prepares professionally, you know, that I didn't know about has been a pleasant surprise for me. So I'm happy to have him.
Like Carlton Davis, prides himself obviously with his skill set on being a physical guy. How frustrating is it to kind of coach these guys to be good at what they do, but also kind of toe that line between the way the games are called in terms of penalties?
I mean, you coach it the right way. You got to play it the right way. You know, if a penalty is called, you got to get back on your horse. We don't want penalties. We don't teach penalties. We don't coach penalties. But you don't take away from a guy's aggression. You just teach him how to be smarter and more fundamentally and technically sound.
You guys completely corralled Tennessee's offense in the first half, held them to 70 yards. Then they had two big drives in the second half. What did you see change defensively that allowed them to get down the field? I know there were some penalties on those drives.
Penalties. We had two penalties on the same drive that went for about 30 yards, and we busted a play or two here and there that went for the other one. And we just got to make sure we play 4 quarters and finish the ball game.
Is that learning how to finish and keeping the foot on the gas there?
The foot's on the gas. It's not a matter of taking the foot off the gas. We just got to make sure we're doing the right things all the time.
How difficult is it to prepare for facing a quarterback like Russell Wilson, who's so unique?
He's tough. I mean, he's tough. He's one of the best in the game. He's right up there, extremely smart. You know, his arm is just as good as his legs. He understands what they do very well. He's a winner. He's proven that time and time again. And he constantly comes at you and creating pressure for you on defense. So it's going to be a challenge for us.
Tennessee's go-ahead touchdown last week. They obviously had miscommunications. I mean, we've talked about that, but at this stage of the game, should guys be lining up right in critical situations like that?
I don't know if you're ever going to line up right completely, but we needed to be lined up right on that play. The communication was there. We just didn't execute it.
So guys were in the right position?
No, the communication was there. I said we didn't execute the play, but the communication was there. Everybody knew what they were supposed to do.
They didn't just necessarily do it.
We didn't execute it.
So you guys made some switches in the secondary, moving Vernon inside the slot a bit last week. How did you think that went, and what was behind that?
I think it went pretty good. I mean, we have matchup things where we have 2 nickels on the field at the same time, so we can kind of move people around. And we toyed with that in the spring, so certain games you'll see different people in different places. And I thought for the most part it worked out pretty good.
How much faster is Sean Murphy-Bunting playing now than when he started? It seems like he's really getting confident out there.
He's playing a lot faster because the game has slowed down for him. I think as a rookie, when you learn nickel and corner, that's tough. That's a tough deal because you get him crossed quite a bit. But the game slowed down for him a lot, and he's more in his natural state like he's playing in college. And, you know, he's getting better every week. We're impressed with him.
It seems like the secondary's been tightened up a little bit with Andrew Adams back there at free safety being a veteran. Do you see that as well? What has he brought to your deep center field position?
Well, he's a smart player. You know, obviously he's been in the league for a while, so he has some years on Mike in that regard. But we have the same confidence with Edwards back there. We just had a bye week, and we tried to concentrate and clean up on a few things that we got to continue to do. There were still some things that we let out, but for the most part, a lot of things we worked on got accomplished. We just got to keep working on it.
Coach, you obviously draft guys and want them to be able to produce even in their rookie season. You mentioned the fact that the game is slowing down for Sean Murphy-Bunting, but how much of a setback at the defense suffered not having Jamel Dean healthy?
Well, it suffered a little setback, more on special teams than defense, because he wasn't ready at the time for the defensive part of it. But he's coming on every day, and he's a big part of what we're going to be doing going forward. And I just like the way he's practicing right now. He's just got to wait his chance.
You got
so many veterans and talented players up front and a nice rotation that we saw, have an impact on Sunday. Now that you have JPP back, he got a sack, Carl got a sack, Shaq got a sack. For a team that has some youth and inexperience in the secondary, how important is it to have that kind of front that can constantly get pressure?
Well, it's always important as a DB, whether you're a rookie or vet, to get pressure up front. They go hand in hand. So to have all those guys up contributing and hopefully a lot more, that makes the ball come out a lot quicker. So hopefully you can be more aggressive as a secondary. Like I said, they're still young. They're still learning route combinations and everything else like that. But I like the aggressiveness they're showing.
Top Bowls, everybody. Top Bowls. Again, if you're just tuning in, welcome to Buck and Blake Sports Live on BucsReport.com. Follow the 63,000 on Facebook and follow me on any of my social media sites down here at the bottom. I will answer any of your questions and any questions that you have, and we can talk football anytime you like. I think Todd Bowles said something key in that last part. He said they go hand in hand. You got all those guys up front you want to contribute. So if they contribute, guys can play more aggressive in the secondary because you ain't got to cover that long. And learning route combinations, if certain plays or certain ways you can run, you got to anticipate that. That's what Troy Polamalu was really good at. He was really good at guessing routes, combination, being able to jump routes and make plays on balls instead of being more proactive than reactive is the best way I could say that. Anybody that's played defense, you know what I mean by that. Being a defensive back, you're reactive anyway in coverage because you got to react to what the receiver's doing, and on top of that, not get a personal foul penalty. I'm talking about on top of that. But personal foul penalty and talking about learning route combinations and things like that. Let's hear from Carlton Davis. I didn't like some of the things that he had to say at first. Check it out.
I get paid to play ball. I don't really get paid to go back and forth or do talking. Obviously, we got to go back to the drawing board. We didn't get the job done here today, so tomorrow we'll go back, look at the film, and just make adjustments.
Thrown on the touchdown pass.
He said he's not here to go back and forth. You're here to play ball. Well, play ball, and you're getting a lot of penalties. You got 2 hands on 2 interceptions. Maybe one of them was questionable. But if somebody's telling you need to play a certain coverage or a certain leverage, you need to play a certain leverage. When you play freelance, you're costing your team plays. You're costing your team first downs. You're costing your team touchdowns when you play your kind of ball that you want to play and not play the type of ball that you're being asked to play by your coach. And those type of things, I guess, is that what these coaches are trying to say? That they know what they do, they're not executing it. And Arian said his best, they're just not getting it yet. And some of these guys, Vernon's a third-year guy, and some of these guys are second-year guys. Some of these guys are first-year guys. We really don't have too many options to sub them out other than Ryan Smith. And Ryan Smith hasn't been in a successful situation since he was drafted. But yeah, you have to execute, man. You got to get constant pressure, at least on the downs. You need to get down pressure and consistent pressure on to help your young secondary out. And the linebackers are not they're not free from this either. I catch them a lot of times staring into the backfield when receivers are running right past them up the seams of the hashes when they can get under these passing lanes when they're looking for people to cover when the quarterback is in the pocket and is not really a mobile threat. So it goes hand in hand, and good coverage helps the sack too. There's such thing as coverage sacks as well. But look at the San Francisco 49ers. If you watched that game yesterday, they just rushed 4 and sent everybody else in coverage. It's so easy for a secondary to be aggressive when you don't have to worry about covering for an X amount of time back in the secondary. You guys are going off on here, the chat line. Oh, Mike, what's going on, Mikey? Would you have made a trade to get a DB? Ooh, you asking me personally, Mikey? Yeah. If the deal is right, Mike. If the deal is right, I would make a trade for it. But we don't really have too much trade collateral other than our draft picks, and you know as well as I do that we need all our draft picks because we got Tampa Bay Buccaneers got a lot of holes to fill. These coming years, especially if we plan on getting better, you got to protect your quarterback. You're probably going to have to replace Ndamukong Suh in the off season. Probably going to have to replace Jason Pierre-Paul in the off season. So to answer your question, yes, I would if it was the right deal and in the right situation. But I just don't know who we would give up or what we would give up. What would it cost? Sometimes you can get lucky and maybe give up a third-round pick for an older player like Patrick Peterson, depending on contract situations like that, or if a guy's contract is expiring in the season and it's a kind of a trade and sign thing. I mean, you know better than I do. It's all intangibles and opportunities and trades. But that's definitely something we're gonna need in the future as well, because Hargreaves will probably be gone after the season because we picked up the team option, so he's probably gone at the end of the year unless they re-sign him for a smaller deal. And not sure where the other changes are going to happen. We might need another safety if Justin Evans isn't going to be able to play because he had surgery. So it's very interesting, Mike. It's very interesting. But if a deal was right, yes, I would trade for a DB, at least a veteran back there in the secondary. Day, to be honest, we have been getting ate up by tight ends across the middle. Deshaun Tisdale, do you think some of those one and done contracts is going to hurt us? We can't keep them all. That's the unfortunate cookie that crumbles. Though we didn't have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were in cap stress. Cap, looking for a good word for that. We were stressed by the cap. We were strapped for cap. Good God, say that 3 times fast, right? But the next year we should have a lot coming off. Jason Pierre-Paul coming off a deal. Jameis is getting 20. There's a lot of deals expiring. So we're going to have to move that money around and manage it more properly and get the guys that we need, the correct guys that we need to move this team forward. Oh, getting tongue-tied there. Johnny says $80 million. Where are we at? So let's get to try to stay on task here. Again, if you're just turning in, this is Buck and Blake Sports live on BucsReport.com every Monday and Friday doing the post game and then doing pregame. So let's get in the tape of Seattle. Also, we still got the Madden 20 prediction coming up as well. So let's get to the tape, shall we? Let's get to the tape. Let's get to the tape. Yeah. All right. Here we are. Let me make this bigger here. Yep, Seattle on offense. You're going to see this a lot. You're going to see this RPO options. You're going to see this stuff a lot on offense. These linebackers and these outside linebackers are going to have to be disciplined on whatever game plan that we choose to pick. If you're going to take Russell Wilson, or you're going to come squeeze down and try to make a play on the running back. I'm not sure what we're going to try to play in this situation because, Russell Wilson is almost like a running back pretty much. This is their standard, their offense. They're going to run play action out of this, and they're going to run this all the time. And if Carson breaks tackles, you can see what he can do out in open field. Again, check it out. No extra tight ends. Nobody needed extra in the box, and they're able to run the ball. Spread you out, run right under you, break the tackle, get off me, come to the next guy up. You want a lower shoulder, you can eat that shoulder. First down. And you're gonna see that a lot on Sunday. You're gonna see it a whole lot on Sunday. Now I'm just doing the standard on defense. You see 3-4 look. No, excuse me. They got the 4-3, and then they really run a hybrid. Let me just say that. You're going to see the plays loop. But they really run a hybrid defense. The weaknesses I see in their defense is you have to take care of the unathletic ability of KJ Wright, take care of the unathletic ability of Jadeveon Clowney. When I say that, I'm talking about in coverage, and taking advantage of the inability of playmaking ability in Ziggy Ansah, because there's plays that I've watched when their defense is playing that they're asked to cover, and they're covering the backs out in the flats. So I'm thinking if you get Ronald Jones out in the flats and we one-on-one against these guys, and if he beats them, he can get an extra 10, 15, 12 yards on those plays. Again, I know you're seeing the offense. I'm just going to loop between both of those. So in case somebody missed it, I don't want them to miss it. But when you see the defensive clips that are coming up now, they're just – you see on display, you got Ansah in the coverage. You've got bigger guys out there coverage asking the covered backs coming out the backfield. Of course, it's not going to be an easy job, but those are things where you got to take advantage of the opportunities and the mismatches that you have, or the things that you think is a mismatch. KJ Wright is a great run stuffer, not really good in coverage, never has been. Javian Clowney's never been a guy who's been a huge help in coverage. He's really great against the run. Is really effective pass rush. Ziggy Ansah, I've never really seen him do much his years in Detroit when I was asked to pass coverage, but he's been great pass rushing. So I think if you get matched up with your running backs or your tight ends against these matchups, I think you should go at them as much as possible if you get that opportunity. I'm going to the chat box now. If you see me looking over, a lot of holes, no cap. You just got to fill it with draft picks as well. That's why it was a tough one with Michael Clayton when he asked me, should we have made a trade for a DB? Do you think some of these? Okay, we had talked about that. Day, to be honest, we have been getting ate up. Oh, tight ends. Okay, we talked about that. Misador Hudson playing now may make break at Spenville this offseason. I think that has, especially with the $7 million guaranteed to break to do pretty much nothing this season. Johnny Dean, $80 million is pretty good. Deshaun Tisdale, man, I wish we would have got Adrian Peterson. Oh yeah, no doubt. And they're friends. They trained in the offseason. Deshaun, I'm with you on that. When Jameis was rallying for him, I just miss when we had a large running back. Yeah, like LeGarrette Blount. They should have never left here. Thank you, Greg Schiano. Johnny Dean, not an easy assignment for rookies, especially against a vet like him. Oh yeah, Russell Wilson's gonna throw that deep ball, hit that play action with these little speedy receivers. And speaking of that, let me talk about that. That's one thing we've always lacked on offense is the speed ability. We get a lot of size, but when your quarterback gets plays, it helps having a speedy guy run all the way across the field and be able to slang one to him and be able to run under it and make a catch when the play breaks down. We lack that ability here. Brashard Perriman lacks that football IQ to get those kind of plays in the game because when he's non-effective. And I just don't know. Those are things. Scotty Miller, hopefully, he's young. He can pick up the game quickly. I predicted him to pick up the game quickly, but he hasn't pretty much shown what he can do when he's gotten opportunities. Granted, it's kind of thrown at him pretty quickly, and he's got to catch on. But you just don't like to say wait till next year. Johnny Dean, someone would need to pay Wilson while your DBs play like they should, have no running back responsibilities. Day, do you think that if we lose this game, will it hurt much as losing the Tennessee game? I think any loss hurts. You said Josh Gordon. I think Josh Gordon is hurt still, if I'm not mistaken. Misador. What's going on, Christopher Cole? Johnny Dean, bro, Blunt had to have a babysitter just to get him to practice. There's a reason he bounces from team to team. I'm not going to make the comment about LeGarrette Blount in personal life in Tampa Bay, but I can see that point that you're bringing up there about babysitting him. I'm not going to say anything. Moving on. Let's get to your Madden 20 predictions, and we'll get to my predictions. Check it out. Oh, excuse me. There you go. Madden 20 predictions. Russell Wilson, drop back, cross the 50. Who does he find wide open, blown coverage? DK Metcalf. I said beating Carlton Davis on a corner route for a touchdown. Seattle, down again. Beats the cover 2 coverage. Over the top between the safety and the cornerback. Touchdown. Tyler Lockett. Russell Wilson, all day to throw in the pocket. Finds on a screaming post route to Eric Dixon. Touchdown. Buccaneers struggle in this game. Lose 16-30. That is your EA Sports Madden prediction. Buccaneers in that prediction game pretty much was the same. We had red zone woes in the red zone a couple times. Couldn't get touchdowns in the red zone. Kicked a lot of field goals. And a late turnover wasn't on Winston. It was a nice ball hitting between the gap between the corner and the safety to Mike Evans. Mike Evans went up to make a nice catch. It tipped off his hands. Well, he had it in his hands, got hit, and fell out of his hands into the safety for an interception late in the game as they were driving to get a victory. So, there you have it. That's Madden's predictions. Now, as I said, let's get into mine. There it is. My prediction was 30-22, Tampa Bay. We've beaten Seattle before at home here. 3 years ago, we beat them here. Noah Spence had a great game against them. I thought he was a great end against Russell Wilson in that particular game. It's going to be interesting. They're going to run us to death in this game. We got to run first defense. Secondary is going to be pretty rough, but I think if we should be okay, especially if we can stop that run threat and pretty much just work on stopping them in the air, and we can't turn over because Seattle's defense thrives on turnovers. They've always been. They will punch at that ball. They will pick at that ball. They will do everything possible it is to get it out of the offensive receiver or running back, etc.'s hands and get it back into the hands of their offense. And Russell Wilson is perfectly fine winning a game 16-7. That is their type of game. They will do anything that is possible there is to do to win a game. And if you're just tuning in, this is Buck and Blake Sports Live on BucsReport.com. I am Blake Anthony, and this is my show every Monday and Friday. Mike, I gotta get you on here, man, so you can spit that real talk with Mike Clayton. Bro Blunt, Misador cleared IR this morning. Good, nice. Gordon had zero work ethic with Belichick. He couldn't even get an offer in trades for him. Johnny D, minimal risk of a waiver. I get your point. Low risk, high reward. Those are the kind of deals you make. Johnny Dean, Isidore, Miami, Bengals, and a couple other teams have first DB since his waiver release. We'll see what happens with Gordon any given Sunday. You're absolutely right, Chris Cole. Any given Sunday, you don't know how the cookie crumbles. You don't know how things turn out. It's just crazy, and that's the reason why we love the game of the NFL. Anything can change. You can go from a hero to zero or zero to hero in a matter of 24 hours. That's just the way the game goes, and I think that's why we all love the game so much. Because anything could change, and so many crazy stories of people overcoming cancer and life situations and things like that. And it's just amazing the things humans can accomplish when you put your mind to it. And I wish we could do that in all things and making this world better for everybody. That's, I'm not going to get in a political stance about that, but you get to see it, what we're capable of. Johnny Dean, we are 10th on the waiver. Day, bro, I got to give you some props. This by far has been the best show by far. I appreciate that, Daddy. I appreciate that. And the Madden came from Jeremiah. He asked me, did I play Madden? I do play Madden. I have a Bucs Report Madden League. I actually have 2 spots available. You can find me on PlayStation Network under Carolina Kid 22. It's on PlayStation Network. I have 2 spots available on there. We are in the 2nd season, week 3 currently. So, yes. And the fan brought it up, and I put it on the show. And I have no problem doing it. So if you have other ideas and stuff like that, I'll do that as well. Like I said, you guys hit me up or whatever. I try to listen and try to entertain you guys the best I can. Because I appreciate you guys taking out of your time. The 30, 40, 50 people that are viewing right now and 1,000 others that will watch later. I appreciate the time you take out of your schedules and all that, as well as me doing it for you. What I got all my other stuff to do. So it's just great having that relationship with you guys since 2015, since when I first started doing this stuff. Oh my God, maybe I should do like Peter, show you some videos from 2015, how horrendous it was. It was actually, my first video was actually Winston's first preseason game. It was awful. I'm talking about my video from then to now, and just learning all the stuff I need to learn. And speaking of I need to learn how to shave. Good Lord. Misador, Devin spies on Wilson and got cover Metcalf. Yeah, I expect brain fart. I expect White to shadow Wilson a little bit. I expect this to try to keep outside leverage on the pass rush. I would like to see White get a little better in pass coverage here and get his hands on a few balls and possibly get an interception. Sean Paul, what's going on, buddy? The book said franchise tags can give him another year into the system. He said Xbox One. No, it used to be Misador. It's PlayStation now. Back home where it all started. Well, I don't have much. I'm just rambling on, having a great time with you guys. For all the viewers that are here, I'm not going to leave you here any longer. You guys got your lives to live. It's on a Friday. Unfortunately, I got to work this weekend. But I'll see y'all. I'm off next weekend. I'll be in Orlando on Friday. So, I appreciate you guys for everything you do. And we'll end this show as we always end. Oh, hold on. Sean Paul. Should be the Bucs franchise tag Jameis Winston to have him and Bruce Arians system for another year. Absolutely. I get what you're saying. Don't change. And I said it before, Sean. He didn't come out of retirement to coach Ryan Griffin. He didn't come out of retirement to coach another quarterback. Coach a guy he already knows. What's going on, Cedric? Appreciate you, too. Always, guys. Show some love. Go to Bucs Report, Facebook, and like and follow on there. As well as go and check out my website. You guys, I'm updating it all the time with little cool videos and stuff like that. I'm trying to get a chat forum on there for everybody so you can drop videos and all that stuff on there. Well, that's as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it's entirely up to you. Thank you, guys. God bless, and fire those cannons.
There is a storm on the horizon. They say it follows a ship rigged with black sails. They'll destroy anyone who stands in between them and their hunt for gold. Have mercy on your soul if you ever run into these Buccaneers. Run them down to David Jones' locker.
Yeah, this the home of the Bucs. Home of the Bucs. For all them cannons. Watch how my city turn up. We gotta do something. There's levels to this. We got love it with us. They tell me we finally got it. I feel like we did it. And love it we